Welcome back. In this lesson, we're going to explore the power of creating boundaries that empower you to protect your time, energy, and well-being. Setting boundaries can be challenging, especially when it involves people you care about, but it's essential for maintaining healthy relationships and staying aligned with your vision. Let's dive into what boundaries are, how to set them, and how to navigate the reactions that might come when you do. Boundaries are essential for creating a balanced and fulfilling life. So they help you define what's acceptable and what's not in your interactions with others, as well as in how you treat yourself. In this lesson, we'll cover the different types of boundaries, internal and external, and discuss situations where each type might be crossed. You'll learn practical strategies for setting, communicating, and enforcing boundaries, along with how to handle the emotions that often come up when you start setting limits. Boundaries are not just about keeping people out. They're about protecting what matters most to you and creating space for growth, well-being, and meaningful connections. Without clear boundaries, it's easy to feel overwhelmed, drained, or taken advantage of. Learning how to set and maintain healthy boundaries is key to empowering yourself and staying aligned with your goals and values. Simply put, boundaries are limits that define what you are willing to accept in your interactions with others and with yourself. There are two types of boundaries: internal boundaries, which are how you manage your thoughts, feelings, and behaviors, and external boundaries, which are how you interact with others. Here are a few examples. Internal boundaries: when to rest and take care of yourself and stop working, when to go to bed, when to stop scrolling on social media and work on other tasks, how much money you spend on goods and services. External boundaries: setting limits on personal space and physical touch, setting limits on spending time with someone, and finally, communicating how you want to be treated in relationships. Let's take a look on how to set boundaries. There are several key steps on setting boundaries. I will go over the steps first and then take you through an example. Number one is self-awareness. Realizing a boundary was crossed. We must first notice and become aware that a boundary has been crossed and come up with a way to set a boundary so that it doesn't happen again. Number two, clarify your boundaries. Get clear on what your boundary needs to be. Number three, communicate boundaries assertively. So use clear, respectful, and direct communication when expressing your boundaries to others. Avoid being passive or aggressive. Use I statements to take ownership of your needs and reduce the chance of the other person feeling attacked. Number four, set a consequence for the boundary violation. Determine what actions you will take if your boundaries are crossed. It's important to communicate these consequences to others in advance. Consequences can range from removing yourself from a situation to changing how you engage with someone. Number five, be consistent. Enforce your boundaries consistently to ensure they are respected. If you let violations slide, people may not take them seriously. Consistency builds confidence in yourself and helps others understand you're serious about your limits. Number six, manage emotional reactions. Setting boundaries can trigger feelings of guilt, fear, or anxiety, especially if you're used to people pleasing. Stay grounded in the knowledge that boundaries are healthy and necessary. When setting boundaries, some people may get upset or react negatively. This is a natural reaction because you're shifting a dynamic that someone has been so used to for so long. They may need some time to adjust and honor your boundaries. Number seven, evaluate and adjust when necessary. Review your boundaries over time to see if they're serving you well. Some situations or relationships may require tighter boundaries, while others may need more flexibility. Adjust as your needs grow and your relationships change or situations evolve. Let's go through an example now. I will use a relational example as it will be easier to understand. Let's say your wife has crossed your boundary by speaking to you by yelling and cursing. So step number 1, realize that a boundary was crossed. You notice that her yelling at you doesn't feel good in your body, so you note that as a boundary being crossed. Step number 2, you clarify your boundary. I don't like someone yelling and cursing at me when they are speaking. Number 3, you communicate your boundary. Hi dear, can we speak? I would like to speak to you about how it makes me feel when you yell and curse at me. I feel sad and I feel disrespected. I would like you to speak to me calmly and respectfully. Number 4, set consequences for boundaries. If you speak to me like that again, I will walk away and not engage in conversation. Number 5, if the boundary gets crossed, this part is crucial. You walk away and not engage in the conversation. And note on if they keep crossing the boundary and aren't changing, you must come up with harsher consequences. I will leave the house for a few days, or I will leave the relationship, for instance. Number 6, manage emotional reactions. They may not like the boundary you have set, so be compassionate with yourself and them, and listen to what they say and help them understand why you are doing what you are doing. You are doing this to take care of yourself and that you have self-respect. Number 7, evaluate and adjust if necessary. You might set a boundary and the boundary may need to shift. Say you said you will leave the house. If the boundary was crossed and you left the house once and came back, you might need to adjust the consequence if leaving the house constantly doesn't work or didn't work for either of you. Once you have set a boundary and created a consequence, please make sure you enforce the consequence. If you do not, the behavior won't change. To start testing the waters, I would recommend making the consequences small and simple. As you grow accustomed to enforcing boundaries, you can make them more impactful. Setting boundaries takes practice. You may feel some guilt wanting to set a boundary with a loved one. Be with the guilt. Notice why it's coming up. Ask yourself, what does it mean that I'm telling myself that I want to set this boundary? I have seen for myself that setting boundaries has given me my self-respect back, and it has shown me who loves and respects me and who doesn't. I am not saying that setting boundaries is easy. It is a skill that you can grow into. It takes practice and vigilance. Here's an activity. Boundary identification exercise. Reflect on areas in your life where you feel drained, overwhelmed, or taken advantage of. Identify where a boundary might be needed and use the 7 steps to write down what that boundary would look like. Do one internal and one external. To recap, in this lesson, you've learned what boundaries are, the different types of boundaries, and how to set and enforce them. You've explored common scenarios where boundaries might be tested, how to manage guilt and shame, and how to navigate people's reactions when you start asserting your needs. Reflection question number 1. What boundaries do you need to set to protect your time, energy, and well-being? Reflection question number 2. How do you typically feel when setting boundaries, and how can you manage those emotions? Reflection question number 3. How can you stay consistent in enforcing your boundaries even when others push back? Start identifying areas where boundaries are needed in your life and practice having boundary setting conversations in order to achieve your vision. Review the script to help you with boundary setting conversations. That's it for this lesson. Get ready for the next lesson where we'll focus on sustaining momentum and staying committed to your vision over the long term.